Hey, what's up guys, Will here for GSM Arena. This year we've seen a lot of manufacturers coming out with 5G versions of mid-range phones. Well, here is another one, the Samsung Galaxy A32 5G. Is this the budget 5G phone to watch out for? Let's find out in our full review. The Galaxy A32 5G is a phone made from plastic, and the flat back has a reflective finish, just like the chrome-colored rounded frame. It doesn't feel too sturdy, almost like it's hollow inside, but at the same time it isn't that light, weighing in at over 200 grams. Even though the name, looks, and price are quite similar to the regular 4G version of the Galaxy A32, don't get confused. Samsung has made some cuts here specs-wise to balance out the 5G chipset. The biggest downgrade is the display. Rather than a Full HD AMOLED with a fast refresh rate, the 5G model has a 6.5-inch LCD with a 720p resolution and a standard refresh rate. The bezels are on the thicker side, and you have a teardrop-shaped notch for the selfie cam. This display is far from impressive. With a pixel density of 270 ppi, you can notice some graininess here and there. The colors overall seem a bit dull and desaturated, and they're far from accurate, trending toward bluish, and you don't have any color settings here to try and adjust them with. The panel's max brightness is also not great. We measured around 420 nits with the slider, and it can boost up to 500 nits in auto mode. That's not quite enough to be comfortable if you're out on a sunny day. For audio, the A32 5G has a headphone jack as well as a single speaker, which scored just average on our loudness charts. The speaker's sound quality is nothing impressive, about what you'd expect from a budget device. You can opt for 64 or 128 gigs of storage on board the A32 5G, and it is expandable via microSD. And waking up and unlocking the phone can be done with the side-mounted fingerprint reader built into the power button. It's fast and responsive. The A32 5G's interface is One UI 3.1, based on Android 11. One major benefit of having Samsung software is their promise of support through 3 major OS updates and 4 years of security patches. This year, Samsung's interface brings new features introduced with the new version of Android. For example, there's a notification history log, so you can go back later and double-check something. Bubbles allows notifications from incoming messaging apps to appear in a floating chat head, just like with Facebook's Messenger. And you get Android 11's refined multimedia controls. A stack of the active audio playback apps appears below the quick toggles, and swiping to the side switches between the apps. Finally, you get some proprietary Samsung features here as well, like the Edge panel menu, which can store shortcuts. And there's a game launcher menu which allows you to access your games, and control do not disturb options for them. Under the hood of the device is a MediaTek Dimensity 720 5G chipset built on a 7nm process. It provides pretty solid CPU performance for a mid-ranger, comparable to phones with a Snapdragon 720G. It also performs respectably in GPU tests, perhaps in part to its lower-res display. Overall, it's no chart topper, but the Galaxy A32 5G is dependable for getting you through the day smoothly, and playing games at lower graphic settings. With its large 5000 mAh battery, the A32 5G was able to score a great endurance rating of 123 hours in our proprietary test routine. Charging speed, on the other hand, is pretty slow. The phone comes with a 15-watt charger in the box, and with it, we were able to charge from a dead battery to just 23% in half an hour. Moving on to the cameras, the A32 5G has a 48-megapixel quad-Bayer main camera, an 8-megapixel ultra-wide cam, a 5-megapixel macro cam, and a depth sensor. Although it is a downgrade resolution-wise from the main cam of the regular Galaxy A32, quality is very good for this class. There's plenty of detail, the photos are sharp, colors are nice and vibrant, and the dynamic range is respectable. 8-megapixel shots from the ultra-wide cam have an okay detail level for the class, and the dynamic range isn't half bad. Colors don't match the main cams though, for some reason these are punchier, and you don't get barrel distortion correction here. 5-megapixel close-up shots are pretty decent compared to those from 2-megapixel macro cams on other budget devices, but since there's no autofocus, getting a sharp result requires some trial and error. In low light, the main camera's performance is okay. There's plenty of detail, but shots are generally soft and noisy, and dynamic range is narrow, with blown out highlights and crushed shadows. The effects of night mode are subtle but beneficial. Light sources are handled better, and most highlights are no longer clipped. Shadows get a minor boost as well. The ultra-wide cam doesn't do well at night. Its photos come out underexposed and noisy, with narrow dynamic range. Just like with the main cam, the effects of night mode are subtle, mostly benefiting the highlights and light sources, with a small boost in dark shadows. Selfies are taken with the 13-megapixel front-facing cam, and these photos are nice for this price range. There's great resolve detail, likable colors, and decently wide dynamic range thanks to HDR. Unlike the vanilla A32, the A32 5G can record 4K video with its main camera. This footage has plenty of detail and saturated colors. Dynamic range isn't ideal though, with some clipped highlights. The ultra-wide cam records at a maximum of 1080p resolution, and this footage comes out with a darker exposure than the main cam, with not a lot of detail. There's some general softness throughout the frame, and dynamic range is limited. There's electronic stabilization available for both cameras in 1080p resolution. It takes care of a lot of the shakiness, but in the case of the main cam, introduces some focus hunting, which can be just as bad. So that's the Samsung Galaxy A32 5G. You get a solid chipset that provides you with 5G connectivity. There's also excellent battery life, a decent camera experience, and up-to-date software support from Samsung. Compared to the regular Galaxy A32, you do miss out on a few things, the most notable being that high refresh rate AMOLED screen. You know, if they're priced the same, something's gotta give in exchange for the 5G chipset, and 4G phones overall are gonna provide nicer features compared to the 5G models. But if you're dead set on getting a 5G Samsung on a budget and the 720p LCD doesn't bother you, then the Galaxy A32 5G could be worth considering. Thanks for watching guys, stay safe and see you on the next one.